Okay, video 3 of 3 on 11/24. Pfizer, pretty much, we've had this conversation earlier with Merck, was it? And Moderna. So a little better price action than Moderna because I believe they have other drugs, not just vaccines. More mature company. They do have revenues, and they're a little bit more stable with the revenues. I don't like the fact that it went below this level here, but it's not a disaster yet. So rallies into 27.50 will be sold hard. I think they'll start selling at 26.50. So if I'm long from here and I'm a trader, I shouldn't overstay my welcome. If I'm an investor and I just started long, that's fine with me. It's a buy to dip moment, but not all in. So if I'm an investor in Pfizer and I decide to put $5,000 into Pfizer, I would only put half of it now. And if it falls into the low 20s or lower, I would add the other half and forget about it. Palantir, I am short and I'm making money, so I'll stay short. I like the company. We were buyers in the single digits. We're not buyers up here. This could go to 100, but if the it's priced for more than perfection at this point. It is extremely expensive from the price to sales metric. I believe it's in the 50s. So statistics, price to sales, 57. That is the highest it's ever been, I think. Let's go here. Yep, double the next closest number, almost. If somebody's starting longs here, that somebody needed to do their homework early. You could make money if you get long here. Of course you can. This is an idiotic market, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't know what this is. Defense company. Good trend on a daily basis. Not a good starting point. I think you'll have cheaper prices, under 110, under 108 in the next few months if you're a little bit patient. PayPal, same. This overpriced in the sense where okay, so here's the problem. It's one of those stocks that if you look left during the pandemic, miles of idiocy. So are you kidding me? Look at this. Look at this. $311 was the all-time high. $311. And I was a trader for us on PayPal on the way down. All of 2022, we made money with it. Look at all these write-ups we did. Okay, no way on planet Earth would I want to get involved with it up here. This is taken on a life of its own. Meanwhile, 100 and 86 are pretty important spiky points, and 122 to give you reference points. Like this area. This blue thing, this is an island from February of 2023. It's missing the letter B. February island. What does that mean? This one right there. For a couple of days, it spiked up, gave us a doji, and then the next day gave us a inverted hammer doji, and then it fell apart. It's something to notice. And then another failing point at 92 and another one around 98. It just doesn't make sense. Look at it. It just doesn't make sense. And no improvement in the P&L. So who knows? Okay. This one, I should take it back. This one during the 2022 correction with Square, they fell with Bitcoin. And I believe now they might have some tailwind from Bitcoin. Qualcomm, like look at this P&L and PayPal, and this one is trying to hold support so it doesn't go to 140. So technically it could bounce, but I think it's still at risk of going to 140. Selling puts, I love it. Selling put spreads, I love it. Buying a call spread, I don't mind it. A combination of any of these is the way I would do it. Great company, buy the dip. You might have another opportunity to buy the dip around 144. But a great company. RIOT, I don't want to even talk about it. This is a Bitcoin trade, and it sucks at being a Bitcoin trade. So Bitcoin is at an all-time high. When I said to people, oh, RIOT, Bitcoin is going, I said, if you like Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin. If you would listen to me, you wouldn't be stuck in this garbage. Why? Look, Bitcoin all-time high, okay? Look at the all-time high in RIOT. Tell me it's not garbage. It's garbage. If you listen to me back then, and halfway through and now, you would stay away from this. Do your homework and find a reason to be long Riot. I think it just trades with Bitcoin prices. It gets all the very little of the benefits and all of the downsides of being Riot. Do you know its history? Do you know that this is a biotech company that changed its name a couple of times? Do you know that it was sued? Do you know all of this stuff? Do your homework on the company. Starbucks. Doesn't look like a good starting point. I know they have a new CEO, right? The guy from Chipotle. If technically they take 106, 107 out, 108, they go another $10. So they might be able to do it. It just looks like a messy chart. To me, they haven't yet solidified the support below. They do have plenty of support scattered. So if you're chasing by selling a put or a put spread, I like it better than just completely holding calls. Holding shares and selling covered calls works well as well in my book. SE, again, one of those companies that we traded with PayPal, Square, and Shopify on the way down in 2022, and nobody want any part of it. And our puts were sold in the 50s, and that was a problem. So that's what I just deleted. Again, this is the pandemic trader. I don't want to be involved on that basketball court. So from here to 150 should be a death zone. You can make fortunes in between here and there. The chart not going to help you. It's a momentum trade. The idiots are in charge again. So hop on board if you want to commingle with them. For me, nothing I would deal with. Write down 118. That's your next catalyst. Write down 104. That's the start of a somewhat of a support zone. The company's fine. P&L is fine. Price action, garbage. Who is this? Sagiment. Okay, I don't know what that is. I think it's easier to get the 3.8 than it is 5.6. Shopify. I'm short and making money. That's it. I don't have to say anymore. If you want to do the opposite, go for it. I think it's easier to fall than to rally. Schlumberger. This is another election thing, is it? I'm asking. Yep, it's an election thing. Okay. I think it's easier to come back down to 42.8 and 41.8 than it is to 46.8. Fair enough? So resistance here and above the above. I think people will be disappointed with how the election is going to affect this company. SMCI, I wouldn't touch it. I've discussed this with you 100 times. We bought the dip once and for like 5 minutes. The next day I said, I'm out because we just got the bounce. And let's put it this way. I know some of you are stuck at 38. We had that discussion last week or throughout the week. And I said, I would, if I'm long above here, I would cut loose of half my position and sell aggressive calls against, cover calls against the other half. And if I want to stay long this company, I would roll into something else like the QQQ or the SMH that moves with it without the headlines of it. This is, the P&L is fine, but when the company has been caught cheating before and now is being accused of cheating and they keep delaying report of this and that, you're playing with headlines. What do you know that I don't about the headlines? Do you have somebody at the SEC? Do you have somebody at the company feeding you inside information? If you don't, you're leaving yourself blind to that headline. If you're stuck long, I would be looking as an exit strategy somehow. If you need help with that, come to me. SBUX will do another video on it all by itself. You don't ever need to, I keep saying this, you don't need to submit SPX, SPY, QQQ. I do their own video at night. I'm not going to cover them twice. And if you're that active, you need to be in the live room. We cover them all day, 9 hours a day. Square would not be long for the same reason as mentioned before. Good P&L, price action, too exuberant. They're buying dips and they're due for a dip. I think it's easier to get to 80 or 79 than it is to 104. But it is a bank-ish and it's rallying with banks and the idiots are in charge of it. I don't want to trade with idiots. I wouldn't touch it. SWK. We caught the dip, right, on Black & Decker, and it's not going well. It's tough. It's a credit put spread. It's still alive. I forgot where we did it. I thought I would put it on here. Where was our risk? At 80? Anyway, the credit put spread is still alive, I think. I just don't remember where it was. Hold on, I can probably find out. I do find out. 80, yeah. So credit put spread for January at 80. If this price falls into 80 by January, I will take shares and put a stop there. So it is statistically, it's losing money, or is it? No, it isn't. Barely. I collected $50. Now it's showing me $55. So if you regret doing that, you can pay $5 of a loss per contract, literally $5, and get out of it, or cut it in half. It still should work. I don't know this one. What is this? Serves the greater good of its communities through empowering stories. What? What? Okay. This stock is going into a prior area that it was a disaster. It's not a long. I wouldn't start longs there. Target stuck in the middle of a pretty wide range, right? No. It dipped. It was a buy the dip moment. Decent P&L, pretty good operator. They figured out that Amazon was a threat, and along with Walmart, they adjusted really well. I honestly didn't see anything ugly. It was single-digit growth and or a rollback in comps in the forward. So, and it came at the day after Walmart came out with a 5% growth. So in retail, that's a big difference between being successful and not successful. Growing sales now relative to last year. That's a big thing in retail. It's an ugly chart. It fell into a support zone. I could have started longs by selling puts to own shares, but as long as I leave half to add later. Like if the market corrects, I keep saying these words and it hasn't yet, but if it does, it will eventually. When it does, this one might end up at 92. So I want to leave dry powder to add lower. Meanwhile, just this one is one of those crazy stocks I wouldn't get involved with. The P&L is okay. The price action is just pure garbage. So if you're trading this, you're just gambling. Pop into the live room to see if we can help you. If you're an investor, I'm going to push back on you. Where was your trade idea for investing when it was a mile below just a few days ago? Okay, so a nicer way to say it, you missed the easy upside. You're going into a black hole of price action. Tesla, same comments. I think if you're going long Tesla now, you're going to lose money for a trade because it's rallying on a concept that is being misinterpreted. That's my guess. Okay? Robots and self-driving headline, the self-driving headline simply stated is misplaced. So Tesla is a long, in my opinion, if it has another source of income other than selling cars. The self-driving thing now, the headline, is not to allow it to have a taxi, which would bring in money from other than selling cars. They already have self-driving. This headline doesn't change the fact that they have self-driving. They just can't call it self-driving. So when Tom drives his Tesla, he can turn on his self-driving mode and have it self-drive currently in the car that he's owned for quite a bit of time. So it's not going to cause Tom to go out and buy a Tesla for that feature because it's already in there and you have to pay for it. So it's already there. Where is the incremental sale from that headline? Whereas if you told me that the only reason they don't have taxis is because of that, then I would say, okay, but that isn't. Elon Musk told you recently they won't have self-driving for another year and a half. Taxis. So there's no income from taxis for at least a year and a half. That's what he said. Anyway, my thesis is that this pop is more technical and hype than actual meat. I did sell a call spread. It's probably a little red, but it's not demolished. So I will deal with it. This technical breakout has target 1 met, the green one. Target 2 is at 390 and target 3 is above 430. On a weekly basis, it is a breakout. Okay. Under Armour. I always wondered why this company P&L was going to zero, and I mentioned it as a long because they make good products and the P&L is okay and the stock price is going to zero. If I bought it as an investment, good job. Up here, it's not an obvious entry point. Down here, it was. Up here, it's not. Look left, prior failed, they failed again. So now as they fall, they better hold 850 and 8 to get the respect of Wall Street. We already discussed this. Why are you asking me? If you're short, I would stay short. If you're looking to short, it is shortable. It is an incredible rally, and if they break out of here, they might even go to 120, and then it would be a freaking disaster. I'm going to keep shorting it until I get my money out of it. And when I short it very responsibly. Bear call spread. I don't sell the company short, okay? Uber. Let's take out the lines. It fell into support, Uber. And if it loses last week's lows, I think it goes down to 60 or 58. Technically speaking, it's going to be harder to get to 78. It's going to be easier to get to 62 or 64. If you get to 62 or 64, that means you triggered a head and shoulders that targets the low mid 50s. Okay, so not a disaster chart, but let me see if I can update these lines. So that letter R, I can repurpose and put it here. And this concept that didn't play out here, I don't want to play it. I don't want to draw it so not to entice people to short it. But if it rallies and it hits the letter R zone and it fails and comes back to here, and if it loses this one, then it goes down to here. That is a cautionary path that could unfold, so manage your risk accordingly. ULTA, buy the dip, yes. We did draw a few lines and they came into play. At some point I said, danger. They fell below it. They popped above it. They fell below it. They popped above it. They fell below it. They're fighting for it. And then they popped above it and now they're below it. And once they went below it, they overshot my target. You see that? Okay. So now everything above is resistance. So when it goes back to 365, plus or minus, is going to be resistance. It has support here. And God help them if they lose 320 or 318. I'm not going to even talk about the downside scenario there. This P&L is starting to look ugly, quarterly basis. On the annual basis, not so bad. But was this the aberration or do we have a descending trend? So keep your eye on the fundamentals. Catching the falling knife works, but not all in. UNG, good job. I would be out. If you didn't get out, I got you in here. One of these two places, I don't remember. If you didn't get out here, I have no words. This was a trade. It made more than 100% for a lot of people. UNH. Okay, so this one seems to have held up well from the elections. The fear of so they popped with everything else and they gave it all back, and now they're popping halfway. That's normal. And then they dropped halfway. You understand what I just said? From A to B, they gave it almost all back, and then from this point from A to B, they gave it halfway. I think 607 now is a big problem zone. If it gets there, it's an out. So if you want to sell covered call spreads, Lou, you can. I think you're long still. UUP. This should make you ask questions. WTF. Why is our dollar super strong? Okay? We are loose with the money. Our central bank has committed to cutting rates and almost committing to buying bonds. That part I made up. The dollar should be weak. I don't know what's going on here. So fundamentally, this is tradable. It's cheap to trade the dollar. UUP is an ETF that I can trade with in-the-money puts and calls. Make your bet. Are they going to break out and soar even higher? Or have a pretty sharp drop down to 29.20? So in this case, I would buy in the money calls or puts. I might take a trade on this one. I will post it because it's low dollar. The bet is low dollar. It won't make you rich, but it's fun. Visa, it's a short based on that red thing. This is a daily chart. And it popped with the banks. Great P&L. Look at this. What? Look at this. Gold. So clearly, we're just, let's say you're looking to go long. I would say not an obvious entry point. Get ready to buy it under 292. VF Corp, pretty used to be stable. I don't have a reason to go long here. They're buying dips from here, but they also into a prior fail zone. So I think it's going to be difficult to take out 23.5 or 24. So if you're a trader, you might have some money to make inside that. If you're an investor and you're getting long, that's fine. I see what you're doing. I mean, it's not an obvious point of entry, but it's not bad. Depends on your time frame, of course. Vodafone, pretty wild P&L, folks. What's going on? Yeah, I wouldn't touch it from an investment perspective. Trading wise, you fell into proven support zone. I get it. Anything below 8 is a black hole. If you lose 8, I don't know where it goes. Until then, it is proven support. Anything below 840 is proven support. Why are we not moving here? Is this the last of it? Why is my down arrow not moving? There we go. VST. Yeah, what is this? Electricity and power. Good Lord. Okay. So these electric company that are talking about nuclear, I'm assuming this is one of them. Is that the same person giving me all these stickers or multiple people giving me all these stickers? If it's the same person, why don't you just find an ETF that does that and just take the ETF and forget about it? All right. So looking at this P&L and looking at this price action in the chart tells me that this is running on a concept that is not currently in its P&L. So it must be nuclear. Do your homework on what can happen and how much money it can make, and the chart is not going to help you. WYNN. All right. So anything below 360, anything at 360 or higher is going to be impossible to break through for a while without a headline. I don't know what kind of headline. I don't know what happened here. Looking at the P&L, nothing happened. Nothing could have happened. This just horse bucky information. Find out what the headline was here. It's on earnings. So what were they expecting? The earnings didn't budge. Look at it. I'm looking at it. How could it have fallen 23% on the earnings report when you look at the earnings and everything is higher high? You see the logic? Yeah. There's no logic because we're idiots as a collective. The market is an idiot as a collective most often. So anything below 300 is a bargain, is what they're trying to tell you. Walmart, I'm short and losing money on it, so we'll see what happens. This P&L is flat as a pancake. I don't argue with it being a great company, but it's not NVIDIA, and it's trading like NVIDIA. Let's look at fundamentals, from the typical. So this is a single-digit grower, so PE matters, okay? And let's look at the annual PE. 36. 2018, it was more expensive. That's the only time it's been more expensive. So let's go back up to see what happened in 2018. That was 2018. That right there, folks, when about the time it was most expensive. 25% haircut. Okay, so let me rephrase it. This is the best month it's had ever. Second best, maybe. It's top 2. You tell me why this is normal when this is the P&L that goes with that. Yeah, this is not a long. How about that? It's not a long. WULF. I don't trade WULF. It's manipulated. Every time I go to trade it, I lose money. The market maker that is in charge of this company will take your money and run with it. As an investment, I wouldn't touch it. It's going straight to zero. The P&L isn't. Something is going on that is above my speed. See what I did there? WULF speed. Do your homework. Decide on your own. Chart not going to help you. The chart tells you don't touch. WYNN precious metals. Is this running with gold? Looks like it. Okay, 66. Mark that. What happens there? I think it's a sell at 66. If they break it, they probably get to 72. Otherwise, buy the dip. WULF, not to be confused with WULF's feed. Target 1 met. Target 2 is 5.4. WYNN. Okay, it's in the middle of a pretty wide zone. It has support into 86. It has resistance into 98. I think it's stuck here for a while without a headline. God help it if it goes below 72. It's a sell. This is attached to China a little bit, I think, right? They're in Macau. So make sure that you know Chinese headlines as well. Zoom, no touchy for a lot of reasons. Earnings in one day. Second, it's one of those idiotic stocks. Yep, I'm still going. Yep, I'm still going. Yep, I'm still. You see why? $600. You want to trade with these guys? Not me. And here's another thing. Remember how I said, what stock was it? 57. Palantir. Palantir at 57, right? 57 times sales. This one, at the height of the pandemic, had a 125 price to sales. So what is that number? Going back to Palantir. It's when you buy the company, and in order to buy the company, you give the owner of the company 57 years worth of sales today. Is that okay? I'm going to buy your pizza shop. How much you make a year? $1 million? Okay, I'm going to give you $57 million for your pizza shop. Palantir's number right now is 57. At the height of the pandemic, the number for Zoom was 125 years. So I don't know what it is right now, but I can tell you I would not get involved with it right now. Price of sales is 5 compared to 120, right? So you, quote, normalize the price. How? By a market crash, by a stock crash, or by an increase in sales that folds over. So if Palantir's company says we're going to quadruple our sales in the next 2 years, in the next 2 quarters, or double our sales like NVIDIA did, then okay, the price to sales argument is gone. Well, here, this one, earnings in a day. Not for me. Zscaler, great company, runs in both directions, super long. Buy the dip up here. There's no obvious entry point. So if the market rallies, continuing to rally, it will probably get to 232. They're buying dips. And it looks like they broke out of 199. If that's the case, then they can get to 248. So if you're a momentum trader riding longs, that's fine. If you're an investor, I would not go long into the last prior fail, which was about 7 days ago. I would buy the dip into 188. And with that, I think we're done. All right.